I see no slowdown in sight. In fact, I think it's just going to keep going and going. And I tell you what is interest rates. When you look at our members' ability to produce a really good return on equity or return on asset or return on invested capital, however the companies measure their growth in equity or their earnings, when you look at that compared to the low interest rates right now, is that the financial minds that are out there working are thinking all day long we can acquire companies that we can bring in, optimize their operation, do an acquisition at the average acquisition right now is at about 4.5 times EBITDA. So if we can buy that company at 4.5 times EBITDA, get use debt to fund this and create a company that has 7 or 8 times or even 10 or 11 times return on that asset that you purchased and get that money at 3 or 4% cost, is they're just looking at the numbers and saying all day long we can grow our business through not just organic growth where we're limited by the current talent issues that we talk about all the time, but we can create an acquisition strategy that fuels our growth, gives us a broader footprint, gives us a national or international footprint that we're looking for, and do that using, in some cases you could say that using debt to fund growth is a risky move, but when the cost of money is so much lower than what the anticipated return on that investment is, why not do it? And that's the mentality that's been driving this.
Yeah. What's your feeling about private equity and venture capital coming into AV and systems integration world? Is that something you are excited about? Is it something you're a little bit nervous about? What's your thought on that?
Well, it depends who I'm talking to. So if Teresa and our staff members were standing behind me today, they would beat me with a club for even suggesting that I'm excited about it. Because if you think about it, our goal is to grow membership and to bring people in. Well, every week we have at least one member company being acquired, which means that they lose a member, right? So we're seeing a rapid shift towards us having larger member companies. We saw that over and over again in all of our work that we've done. What I'm excited about for the current owners of our company is that private equity is driving up their exit valuations. So congratulations to the many members that I've known for a long time and being able to fund a magnificent retirement through that private equity circling around our industry. And they're seeing the same thing we're seeing, is that our earnings, our return on that investment is relatively high compared to other things that they could be investing their money in. And with interest rates low, we're the perfect target for that. So, and we were just talking about this at a recent board meeting, is that we have to prepare our members for the world of private equity influencing our industry. And it could take on a lot of different things. One is prepare to be owned by a private equity firm and what that means. The other one is being prepared to compete with a company owned by a private equity firm and what all that could imply as well. So there's a couple different factors working there. It's a lot like farming around here, as you say how to make $1 million in farming is you start off with $2 million, right? So I think first and foremost, you got to be properly capitalized for any globalization effort. And a lot of the companies that have tried this and failed is because they weren't properly prepared from a funding standpoint for that sunk cost that has to go, the seed money or sunk cost that has to go into doing that. So it's a lot like that. The thing about globalization is it's really driven off of standardization. So if you think about the why of what's driving all these companies to go and spread their wings out to a broader location, is the client demand for standardization, particularly in the AV space. But the client demand for globalization comes from standardizing of their rooms and whatever. So when they go into a building in Singapore or Hong Kong or Shanghai or any facility in Southeast Asia and Europe or in the United States, California, New York, wherever, is they want everything to work the same. So it doesn't matter what that room is, where that executive goes, is that they walk in and the room does whatever it does, no matter where their home office is at. And so standardization has driven the demand for that, has driven the demand for a company based in the United States, let's say, to do all of the corporate facilities for a healthcare organization, whoever it might be. And so that's what's driving all that. So our thing of late, and we do this daily around here, is that we're the matchmakers, if you will. So we get a call every day from a company in Chicago, let's say, and they need to do a project over in London. And it's like, okay, who can we work with to do that? To me, that is a consideration. Doing it that way is probably more economically, fiscally responsible for a company that hasn't the capitalization of the larger firms to just open up an office and hope if they build it, they will come. And so there's a couple different ways to get into that, but we're seeing even the smaller NSCA member companies being required or requested from their clients to do work way outside of their state. And then all of a sudden, you get into all of this stuff with taxes, and there's a myriad of problems. That not the least of which is all the licensing things. So our members have found out the hard way about the permitting processes, the ordinance, local ordinance and stuff, whether they can do work, can't do work, how long it takes to pull a permit in certain areas. We have several rules of thumb around here about, if you're not from Nevada or not from Hawaii, call us before you even bid on a project in those two states, because you're going to lose a lot of money if you're not familiar with the laws in those areas. And we've got examples of that everywhere.